Out of the blue, my eldest son, Isaac, and his wife decided to leave their kids and cat with me to go on a trip. Dumping your kids and cat on me to go on a trip? Isn't that a bit irresponsible? When I confronted Isaac's wife, Lily, over the phone, she responded without a hint of remorse. It's a gift from me and Isaac. Imagine a whole week surrounded by your adorable grandkids and a pet. Isn't it like a dream? You have to pay at a cat cafe, but here you get to take care of them for free. What a deal, right? I felt a surge of anger towards Isaac and Lily, laughing heartily. I clenched my fist so tight it felt like my mobile phone would shatter, and muttered under my breath, "What do they take me for? Just a babysitter, a maid, and now a pet sitter? I can't forgive them. The grudge for the havoc they wreaked on my newly renovated house. I'll make sure they pay for that." I'm Lenore, a 63-year-old housewife. I'm currently working part-time at the company where I used to work full-time, living alone in my husband's family home. I lost my husband 3 years ago. It was lonely at first, but I've grown accustomed to it, and it's quite comfortable now. The hassle of being woken up by my husband snoring in the middle of the night or having to think about what to cook has disappeared. Now I can sleep in on the weekends, make whatever I want to eat, and enjoy my freedom. However, that free life came to an end one day. Days of being tossed around by Isaac's family, who do whatever they please, have begun. Isaac has been arrogant since he was a child, and we never got along well. But he did well enough in his studies to graduate from university and get a job at a major company. Starting to live on his own, he married Lily, an office worker he met at a party 10 years ago. The marriage was announced after the fact, and before we knew it, Isaac and Lily had 4 children in quick succession, becoming a family of 6. "Can you really afford the education for 4 children?" I asked Isaac. He just laughed it off. "Who do you think I am? A full-time employee at a super famous company. Plus, living with Lily's mom, Sharon, helps us save on rent, so we're saving up. Of course, I also contribute to the kids' extracurricular activities and send gifts for Christmas. They only show their faces at our house for Christmas or family gatherings, so honestly, it was quite a relief. But when they do visit, it's like a swarm of locusts or a storm has hit, leaving a disaster in its wake. The curtains were torn, the white walls scribbled on with a marker everywhere, and the remnants of snacks littered all over the house. With 4 boys around, trivial things like the outcome of a game would start a scuffle, and they'd recklessly engage in dangerous play like jumping off tables. Their language was rough, and there was never a moment of peace for me. Lily was always out somewhere, and Isaac, unless he was playing games with the grandkids, would be sprawled on the sofa watching videos on his tablet. He never paid any attention to the kids, whether they were doing something dangerous or using foul language. "Isaac, could you please pay a little attention to the grandkids?" When I addressed Isaac, engrossed in his game with the grandkids, he responded without taking his eyes off the screen. "Dad and Mom were always nagging. We practice no scold parenting. Kids should be raised with praise, you know." I get that, but there are basics like eating snacks while seated, not jumping on beds, not rummaging through someone else's drawers or fridge, and not eating things without asking. Don't you think some basic discipline is necessary? They're just being kids. Let it slide, right? And that's how it goes. He just brushes it off. When I reluctantly turned to Lily, who had come back, she made a face and sighed heavily. "Don't get so upset over kids' antics. That's why the grandkids don't like you." But don't you love your grandkids, Lenore? If you love them, you can forgive anything, right?" Lily said it as if it were the most natural thing in the world, and I just looked down, gripping the hem of my apron. The aftermath, like replacing the curtains and removing the scribbles, all falls on me after Isaac's family leaves. Am I narrow-minded for finding it unpleasant to see grandkids nonchalantly nibbling on cookies at the dining table? If the grandkids are like this, their mom is even worse. Lily uses my cosmetics without permission. I'm in the service industry, so I take great care in my appearance. Considering my age and skin condition, I regularly purchase cosmetics and clothes from my favorite department store. Yet every time Lily stays over, she uses my high-end lotions and creams generously without any hesitation. "Lenore, I forgot my own cosmetics, so I'll use yours, okay?" she'd say, and leave all my cosmetics empty. What I use in 2 months disappears in 3 days. When I probed as she was leaving, and I found out Lily had been transferring my cosmetics into empty containers she brought from her own home. Lily, caught in the act, didn't show a hint of discomfort but pursed her lips. Let me use the cosmetics freely. They're not diminishing. Well, they are diminishing, aren't they? Isaac scolded me. I'm scared. Isaac, with Lily sobbing behind him, shielded her and lashed out at me. Mom, stop the harassment. It's disgraceful. That's not it. I just told Lily to stop using my cosmetics. We're family. Let her use them. Don't be so stingy, Isaac retorted with a twisted face. Unsatisfied, I persisted. It's over $300 worth of products. It's not right to just take someone's stuff and fill up your own containers. Well, next time I'll trade you for one of my products. It's only $1, but it's pretty good, you know. Don't make Lily feel uncomfortable, Mom. That's enough. It's like talking to a brick wall. To add insult to injury, she rummages through my closet, even planning to take my clothes. Lenore, this dress is still new, right? Can I have it? I just bought it and was planning to wear it. If you don't want it, give it to me. Oh, about that cashmere sweater I borrowed the other day. It got a hole. I'm sorry. Seeing the pink sweater Lily held out, I nearly screamed. Somehow, Lily had worn my sweater without asking and burned a hole in it with a cigarette. It was my favorite, bought with a bonus when I was working full-time. Typical cashmere. It was so comfortable. Don't worry. If you decorate the hole, it will look intentional. Lenore, you're good at sewing, right? Lily laughed as if it wasn't her problem, and I clenched my fists. I've had enough. Then the youngest grandchild showed up. What's going on? Are you getting scolded by grandmother again? Yes, help Mom out, all right? Monster, I'll defeat you. Take this. Probably thinking it was a game, the youngest grandchild, holding a toy sword, hit me with all his might. Mom's okay now, thank you. Lily, seeing me crouched down, quickly grabbed the child's hand and scurried away. Rubbing my reddened arm, I felt utterly defeated. To think I was called a monster by my 7-year-old grandchild. As Isaac's family made noise playing games together, I quietly shed tears. Each visit from Isaac's family left me feeling down. But thinking about the plan I was secretly working on lifted my spirits a bit. It was the renovation of the house. The house I'm currently living in, my late husband's family home, was getting old here and there. We had planned to renovate it into a 3LDK before my husband fell ill, but after he became sick, that plan had to be put aside. After my husband's funeral, I began discussing it with contractors. I planned the renovation between Isaac's visits to avoid their meddling. By the end of July, the full renovation was complete, and the 30-year-old wooden house was reborn, looking brand new. New striking blue exterior walls, white window frames, a lawn in the garden. The living room had a vaulted ceiling with bay and arched windows pouring in sunlight, and the spacious kitchen was equipped with an oven, cabinets, and a dishwasher. My favorite part was the second-floor study with a skylight. One entire wall was a built-in bookshelf packed with books. I even set up a solo chair for reading, making it like the attic room I dreamed of as a child with a sloped ceiling. As a book lover, I had poured my dreams and passion into making this cute house. The old kitchen was cramped and hard to use. I looked around the kitchen with a happy feeling. I was thinking how surprised Isaac's family would be when they come next month. Just as I was picturing their reactions and smiling, the phone rang. Mom, can we come over now? Prepare dinner for 6. Something easy like hamburgers. Before I could grasp the situation, the call ended. I wondered how making hamburgers could be considered easy, but I quickly went shopping and started preparing dinner. The salad was ready and the hamburgers were just about to be cooked when Isaac's family arrived. What? You renovated? Amazing, cute house. Wow, it's so clean inside too. Grandmother's fragile house got pretty. The 4 grandkids stormed in and immediately started exploring the house. Ignoring the kids running around, Isaac and his wife were busy with their mobile phones. I gave them a look of disbelief. It's troubling when you come over unannounced. It's Sunday. You're off from your part-time job, right? That's not the point. I had to rush out to shop. I work shifts on Saturdays, so today was my only day off. My plan to read a book after dinner was ruined. As I cooked dinner, Isaac, laughing, scratched his head. Actually, Sharon ran away from home. She wants to be free from taking care of the grandkids and the cat. Such selfish behavior is troublesome, right? See, Isaac and I are busy with work, and it's worrying to leave the kids alone. After-school programs are expensive. It's free to ask Sharon. I found out Lily had been transferring my cosmetics into empty containers she brought from her own home. Lily, caught in the act, didn't show a hint of discomfort, but pursed her lips. Let me use the cosmetics freely. They're not diminishing. Well, they are diminishing, aren't they? Isaac scolded me. I'm scared. Isaac, with Lily sobbing behind him, shielded her and lashed out at me. Mom, stop the harassment. It's disgraceful. That's not it. I just told Lily to stop using my cosmetics. We're family. Let her use them. Don't be so stingy, Isaac retorted with a twisted face. Unsatisfied, I persisted. It's over $300 worth of products. It's not right to just take someone's stuff and fill up your own containers. Well, next time I'll trade you for one of my products. It's only $1, but it's pretty good, you know. Don't make Lily feel uncomfortable, Mom. That's enough. It's like talking to a brick wall. To add insult to injury, she rummages through my closet, even planning to take my clothes. Lenore, this dress is still new, right? Can I have it? I just bought it and was planning to wear it. If you don't want it, give it to me. Oh, about that cashmere sweater I borrowed the other day. It got a hole. I'm sorry. Seeing the pink sweater Lily held out, I nearly screamed. Somehow Lily had worn my sweater without asking and burned a hole in it with a cigarette. It was my favorite, bought with a bonus when I was working full-time. Typical cashmere. It was so comfortable. Don't worry, if you decorate the hole, it will look intentional. Lenore, you're good at sewing, right? Lily laughed as if it wasn't her problem, and I clenched my fists. I've had enough. Then the youngest grandchild showed up. What's going on? Are you getting scolded by grandmother again? Yes. Help Mom out, all right? Monster, I'll defeat you. Take this. Probably thinking it was a game, the youngest grandchild, holding a toy sword, hit me with all his might. Mom's okay now. Thank you. Lily, seeing me crouched down, quickly grabbed the child's hand and scurried away. Rubbing my reddened arm, I felt utterly defeated. To think I was called a monster by my 7-year-old grandchild. As Isaac's family made noise playing games together, I quietly shed tears. Each visit from Isaac's family left me feeling down, but thinking about the plan I was secretly working on lifted my spirits a bit. It was the renovation of the house. The house I'm currently living in, my late husband's family home, was getting old here and there. We had planned to renovate it into a 3 LDK before my husband fell ill, but after he became sick, that plan had to be put aside. After my husband's funeral, I began discussing it with contractors. I planned the renovation between Isaac's visits to avoid their meddling. By the end of July, the full renovation was complete, and the 30-year-old wooden house was reborn, looking brand new. New striking blue exterior walls, white window frames, a lawn in the garden. The living room had a vaulted ceiling with bay and arched windows pouring in sunlight, and the spacious kitchen was equipped with an oven, cabinets, and a dishwasher. My favorite part was the second-floor study with a skylight. One entire wall was a built-in bookshelf packed with books. I even set up a solo chair for reading, making it like the attic room I dreamed of as a child with a sloped ceiling. As a book lover, I had poured my dreams and passion into making this cute house. The old kitchen was cramped and hard to use. I looked around the kitchen with a happy feeling. I was thinking how surprised Isaac's family would be when they come next month. Just as I was picturing their reactions and smiling, the phone rang. Mom, can we come over now? Prepare dinner for 6. Something easy like hamburgers. Before I could grasp the situation, the call ended. I wondered how making hamburgers could be considered easy, but I quickly went shopping and started preparing dinner. The salad was ready, and the hamburgers were just about to be cooked when Isaac's family arrived. What? You renovated? Amazing cute house. Wow, it's so clean inside too. Grandmother's fragile house got pretty. The 4 grandkids stormed in and immediately started exploring the house. Ignoring the kids running around, Isaac and his wife were busy with their mobile phones. I gave them a look of disbelief. It's troubling when you come over unannounced. It's Sunday. You're off from your part-time job, right? That's not the point. I had to rush out to shop. I work shifts on Saturdays, so today was my only day off. My plan to read a book after dinner was ruined. As I cooked dinner, Isaac, laughing, scratched his head. Actually, Sharon ran away from home. She wants to be free from taking care of the grandkids and the cat. Such selfish behavior is troublesome, right? See, Isaac and I are busy with work, and it's worrying to leave the kids alone. After-school programs are expensive. It's free to ask Sharon. But she's gone now. So, Mom, you're up. I was astounded by their audacious reasoning. While I was still in shock, Isaac and his wife started bringing in their luggage and setting up the cat's litter box from the car to the entrance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I remember hearing that the number of litter boxes should be the number of cats plus 1. That means, wait, how many cats do you have? 6. We're kind, you know. Took in some neighborhood rescue cats. Mom, where's the room for the cats? The room on the second floor with the books would be perfect. Let's put the litter boxes there. Come on, everyone, bring the cats in. Following Isaac and his kids, who set up the litter boxes and cat towers, the cat room, grandkids started bringing in the black pet carriers with the cats. Just like that, my 6 tatami-sized attic room was transformed into a cat room. I'm not criticizing people who keep many cats or dogs, and I do understand the cuteness of cats. However, I question whether parents who neglect their own children can properly take care of pets. Have you been having Sharon look after them when you come here? Yeah, pet hotels are expensive, and it's sad to lock them in small cages, right? Isaac joined in, crossing his arms. Sharon is really irresponsible, Mom. Don't run away and take good care of the grandkids and cats, okay? Coming unannounced and making demands, I'm troubled. I've never had a cat before. The kids will take care of feeding and the litter box, so it's fine. Lily's insistence and Isaac's laughter filled me with distrust. So we're counting on you for the cat care and the kids' baths and meals. What? We're heading out, leaving me still unable to grasp the situation. Isaac and his wife went out. As the grandkids' screams filled the air, I wished I could cover my ears. I was reading a cooking magazine in the kitchen corner, but a sudden unease made me head to the second-floor study. Cats need scratching posts, but I don't recall Isaac and his family bringing anything like that. Where would the cats sharpen their claws? Tentatively peeking into the study, I was appalled and slumped at the doorway. The room was in a terrible state. The wallpaper at the entrance was peeled and hanging. The torn marks were undoubtedly from the cats sharpening their claws. There it was, the smell of cat urine in the corner. A cat was seriously scratching the floor around the puddle, perhaps trying to cover it with sand. A white cat was climbing the curtains, perched on the curtain rail, looking down at me. Another was sprawled on an open book, snoring. In the middle of the room, 2 cats were wrestling. There should be one more. Looking out the window over the cat tower, I saw a black figure walking on the lawn. I rushed out, sneaking up between the shed and the fence, cornering and catching the black cat. The moment I caught it, I nearly cried with relief. The neighbor has a Doberman. If it had wandered there, it would have been the end. As I returned, exhausted, to the room, the grandkids ran up to me. "Grandmother, we're hungry. What's for dinner?" "I want shrimp gratin." "I want omelet rice." "Curry, I'm in the mood for spaghetti." After the meal, I asked the eldest, Ralph, to take the grandkids for a bath while I cleaned up the kitchen. Since the guest room wasn't enough, I lent my bed to the grandkids and used the sofa in the study as a bed. "Mom and Dad will be back soon, so make sure you sleep properly," I told the grandkids and was about to go upstairs. Ralph said, "They won't be back for a while." "What?" "They went on a trip for a week. Didn't you know?" Stunned for a moment, I pulled out my mobile phone. I called Lily, and she answered immediately, so I confronted her strongly. "Leaving your kids and cats with me to go on a trip, isn't that a bit irresponsible?" Then Lily, without a hint of remorse, declared, "It's a gift from me and Isaac. Imagine a whole week surrounded by your adorable grandkids and pets. Isn't it like a dream? You'd have to pay at a cat cafe, but here you get to take care of them for free. What a deal, right?" I was at a loss for words. The pillar at the room's entrance was shredded by the cats using it as a scratching post, and there were puddles of urine in the corners. The scratches on my face and arms from catching the black cat were stinging. "We're thoughtful, aren't we? You should be thankful. We don't need your thanks. Just give us some money. We lost big at the casino today." Isaac and Lily's distasteful laughter over the phone ignited a fierce anger in me. After hanging up, I bit my lip hard and muttered to myself, "What do they take me for? Just a babysitter, a maid, and now a pet sitter? I can't forgive this. The grudge for the havoc they wrought on my newly renovated house. I'll make sure they pay for that. Be prepared." A week later, when Isaac and his wife returned, I decided to confront them. After the kids went to bed, I called the two of them to the study. "How long are you staying?" "Don't rush us. The kids are on summer break, so we can stay a bit longer, right?" Isaac said, laughing. I confronted him with a question I'd been harboring for a while. "Isn't it inconvenient to commute from here?" Suddenly, Isaac and his wife started fidgeting. "It's a commutable distance by train. I can drive. It's not that different. Besides, it's a waste for Lenore to use this house all by yourself." Lily suddenly said something absurd. "It's just right for us to live together." "Yeah, let's live together. Finding a pet-friendly apartment is a hassle. Mom, you'll enjoy every day surrounded by cute grandkids and cats, right?" I was infuriated to my core. They let the grandkids handle feeding the cats and changing the litter while they spent their time leisurely on their mobile phones or playing video games. "That's enough," I ended the conversation. But that doesn't mean I gave up on dealing with Isaac and his wife's tyranny. I first asked my boss to use up my paid leave and took a long vacation. The next day, I pretended to go to work daily, visiting various places. 2 weeks later, I stood in front of Isaac and his wife, lounging in the living room, and shouted, "How long are you going to loaf around, freeloading couple? Aren't you ashamed in front of your children?" Lily slowly rose and glared at me. "What's this all of a sudden? This isn't free lodging. If you're staying long-term, pay for food and living expenses." "Oh, but that might be difficult for the two unemployed, right?" "Unemployed? Unemployed?" Isaac and his wife stiffened and questioned each other. "What about your accounting job, Isaac? You said the business deal went well yesterday, didn't you?" I shrugged with a sigh of relief, taking out documents from a large file. I read them aloud. "Lily, you were fired for regularly abusing your juniors, right? And Isaac, you made a major mistake involving a client and didn't apologize, just made excuses. After being scolded by your boss, you lashed out and resigned voluntarily, right?" As I revealed the results of the investigation I requested from a detective, Isaac and his wife started blaming each other. "What, Lily? What have you been doing all day? And you, casino visits? Really? Bingo? And Lily, hopping from one brand shop to another? Such an elegant couple, leisurely enjoying weekdays," I said sarcastically. Isaac was the first to notice something was amiss. "Lily, where are you getting all this money from? And you, blowing through $300 in pocket money like it's nothing. You didn't secretly use the money I gave to the grandkids, did you? Huh? Am I right?" As Isaac and Lily's gazes darted around, I rebuked them. "Using your children's savings? What appalling parents. That money was meant for their future education. I gave them extra during New Year's and as a celebration for entering elementary school. It wasn't meant for you to—" "Shut up! We know that," Lily snapped irritably. That's when Ralph appeared. "Dad? Mom? Have you been using our savings to have fun without working?" Isaac and Lily's cheeks twitched as they scrambled for an excuse. "No, that's not it. Grandmother is just misunderstanding." "Exactly. Dad and Mom work hard every day for you guys. Don't show that to the kids." Ralph peered at the detective's report. He might only understand a part of it, but Ralph's innocent face turned stern. "Lies from Dad and Mom," Ralph muttered sadly, glaring at Isaac and Lily, pouring out his accusations. "Always telling us to study and do our homework well, to go to a good university, to become a respectable employee like Dad, but you're not even responsible yourselves. I gave you all my allowance and New Year's money because you said it was for saving for the future. Spending that money on having fun is the lowest." "Sorry, son. Dad's pocket money wasn't enough, so—" Isaac, apologizing with his hands together, was met with Lily's glaring eyes. "What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying my household management is bad? It's your earnings that are poor. Quitting a big company, aren't you an idiot? I don't want to hear it from a carefree part-time office worker like you." "What did you say?" Isaac and Lily faced each other, starting a heated argument. "That's enough. If you have complaints about my way, you take care of the kids and the cats. I'm going back to my parents' house. Why all of a sudden? You can stay here, live happily with Lenore and the kids, maybe make some pocket money at the casino. Listening to Isaac and Lily's exchange, I stood up silently, gathering my things. I told them with a smile, "Well, I'm also going back to my parents' house. Farewell." I briskly pulled my mint green suitcase, leaving the house with Isaac and Lily watching in astonishment. A week later, while I was having coffee at home, the phone rang. Since I left, calls from Isaac and Lily have been incessant. Reluctantly, I answered the phone, and Isaac's voice, almost in tears, sounded through. "What's this about, Mom? What do you mean, this house? It's in my name, isn't it?" "Yes, that's right. You're my eldest son, and Lily seemed to like the house. It's a gift from me." I said it with a touch of sarcasm, and Isaac let out a pitiful voice. "Why are the property taxes, water, and utility bills so high? We're unemployed. How are we supposed to pay this?" I explained patiently, but with disbelief. When you renovate and enhance the value of a property, taxes go up. With 6 people living there, water and utility bills will increase. Lily takes 3 showers a day, and the grandkids play in the bath for an hour, constantly reheating the water, right? "Oh, I see," Isaac groaned. "Please, we'll work seriously. Just come back. Taking care of 4 kids and 6 cats, it's impossible." Who dumped that troublesome job on Sharon and then on me when she disappeared, pretending to reflect? Now is too late. "That's right. We're not maids or sitters. Take proper care of your own children and pets." After a moment of silence on the phone, Lily shouted, "Is that you, Mom? Please come back. Can't you hear your cute daughter's plea?" "Lily, you'll manage. I'm rooting for you." After I heard some noise on the other end, Lily's mom, Sharon, hung up. I promptly blocked Isaac and Lily's numbers and messages, then exchanged a smile with Sharon. Yes, after returning home, I messaged Sharon, who was staying at a hotel, and invited her to my parents' house. The house left in the care of my cousin was empty, so I offered for us to live together. Sharon and I have been close, chatting in cafes after funerals and other gatherings. We share similar tastes in books and movies, and being the same age, we enjoy reminiscing about the past. Shy as she is, Sharon kept quiet about the hardships of being burdened with her daughter and Isaac's kids, not wanting to criticize her own daughter and Isaac. "If only you had told me earlier, I would have given them a stern warning." "I'm sorry, Lenore. My daughter seems to have caused you trouble." I gave Sharon a reassuring smile. "We're in this same boat, dealing with troublesome children." "That's true." Cutting off contact felt so liberating. A black cat approached Sharon's feet and meowed. There. Sorry for being late to take you in," Sharon said gently, lifting the cat onto her lap. The cat purred contentedly, eyes closed as Sharon gently stroked its back. Adorable. It's hard to find apartments that allow cats, especially 6 of them. Although the newly renovated house was messed up and I was a bit upset, on reflection, the cats weren't at fault. I've been searching for them since moving out, worried about leaving them with my daughter. Staying in hotels all this time, the cats have been through a lot too. The cats look so peaceful with Sharon here. They're all good kitties. The toilet mishaps and scratching the pillars were just them being startled by the sudden move, Sharon said with a gentle smile. Initially, I had no knowledge about cats and was scared when they came near me, but I eventually fell for their charm. Those 2 must be saying selfish things like they miss the cats now. They probably are. I hope they'll work hard for their children, Sharon said thoughtfully, sipping her coffee and gazing at the sunset sky. According to the neighbors, Isaac and Lily have been attending numerous job interviews and finally found full-time positions. They are reportedly working earnestly now. The problem lies with the care of their 4 children. Ralph found out about the parents using the children's savings, and after he revealed everything to his siblings, Isaac and Lily lost their children's trust. The kids have started to ignore their parents and even verbally abuse them, leaving Isaac and Lily at their wits' end. They have to face the consequences of their negligence. Having left my job and returned to my parents' home, I've decided to live with Sharon. With the money from selling my late husband's family home and our savings, we can live comfortably without extravagance. Sharon, who's good at cooking, takes care of the meals, and I handle the cleaning. We hang the laundry together and share the household chores efficiently. The house is spacious, giving us each our own room and privacy, ensuring we can continue to live together harmoniously. No more dealing with children's cries or verbal abuse or getting teary-eyed from cat scratches. We, two women past our 60s, are looking forward to enjoying a peaceful rural life.
All right, everyone's presentations are done. Nick, the manager, said as he tried to move the discussion forward. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me and began to speak. There's apparently someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. His lackey, Mike, of course, agreed with Nick. I'm leaving. After leaving the meeting room, I started to shut down my computer. I noticed that an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking, there's no point in speaking up, no one will listen, I went home quietly. The next day, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. He was staring at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick? Is something wrong? Mike looked at the screen with him. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Knowing the reason for Mike's distress, I thought to myself, serves them right. My name is Adam. My mother passed away when I was in the 9th grade, and I was raised by my father. Well, you could hardly call it being raised. After my mother passed, my father changed. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol, and though he still went to work, he squandered our living expenses on horse racing. Because of that, I had to start working part-time as soon as I entered high school. Every month, I went to the convenience store with bills in hand that couldn't be auto-deducted from my father's account. Even though I endured it because I didn't want to be alone, I reached my limit in my second year of high school and dropped out. I found a live-in job at a distant inn. Thank you for everything. The day I left home, my father, still staring at the TV, spoke. Take care. That was our last conversation. Back then, 18 wasn't the age of majority, so I needed my father's permission to work, and I couldn't hide my place of employment. Yet, my father never visited me even once. I kept working just to survive, and before I knew it, I was 42. Years of hard work paid off, and I was transferred to the headquarters. I was thrilled to be recognized by the company, as I thought I'd be working in the field until retirement due to my lack of formal education. Listen up. Our work can change the future of our employees. Don't drag us down. On my first day after the transfer, Nick, dressed in an expensive suit, spoke sternly. There was a reason for this. Our inn was located in a prominent tourist destination, known so well that everyone in the state could sing its commercial jingle. At its peak, we had 5 locations within the state. But that was long ago. Due to financial difficulties and aging facilities, only the place where I had worked for many years and the original establishment remained. I was prepared to lose my job anytime, but now there was a glimmer of hope. With the rise of social media, the tourist area where the inn was located started gaining attention again. Depending on how hard the sales department, where I was transferred, worked, we could either thrive or be forced to give up this prime location to the new hotel chains continuously popping up. For Nick, who had switched careers from another industry to strengthen our sales, this was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. I understood why he had to be strict. I will do my best. Nick sneered at my enthusiastic declaration. Did you not hear what I said? I'm sorry. I thought I was listening carefully. Out of habit from years of customer service, I apologized reflexively, though I had no idea what had offended him. Someone was watching me with a smirk. In this department, there are those who are expected to excel and those who have been shoved here because they have nowhere else to go. You are the latter. It was Mike, the section chief. He's 7 years younger, at 35. But he was called to headquarters much earlier than I was and had been moving around within the headquarters ever since. I'm not jealous, but I can't accept that he's my boss. Graduating from a prestigious university, he has an unusually high pride and caused many problems as a newbie, making things very difficult for me when I was the front desk leader. When I found out Mike was transferred to the sales department a month before me, I was disheartened. Mike is right. With just a middle school diploma, there's not much you can do. Don't even think about achieving results. As if I didn't exist, Nick remarked, I'm thirsty. Mike eagerly ran to the coffee maker. It seems Mike is Nick's lackey. I regretted being happy about my transfer to headquarters, wishing I had stayed on site forever. Send a direct mail to every company on this list by the end of the day. Nick only assigned me tasks that even a new graduate could handle. What? There are over 1,000 companies. You want me to send to all of them by today? Yes, if you and your fellow misfits split the work, even those with nowhere else to go should finish by today. I glanced at the employees typing away expressionlessly. They were worn out from customer service, only thinking about leaving on time, or were women reassigned after having children. With zero motivation for work. Even Sam, a new graduate from the same university as Mike, who was supposed to be among the expected achievers, had no enthusiasm for the job. Having joined the company wanting to do customer service. I don't care what they say, I plan to quit anytime, he said. Only Nick and Mike were highly motivated, making all the decisions between the two of them. I originally only wanted to work at the inn to survive and had no particular attachment to this job. I swallowed my words, thinking I had no right to reprimand them. About a month after the transfer, Nick told us with a frustrated look. To commemorate the 50th anniversary, we've decided to create a plan exclusive for one group per day. Originally, Mike and I were supposed to come up with it, but our president, Mr. Thompson, insists on hearing everyone's opinions. So, you all get a chance. As Nick explained, Mike began handing out prints. Make sure not to embarrass Nick. If your ideas are half-baked, you'll have to redo them. It seemed that they had printed his handwritten notes by Mr. Thompson, which included several questions and a section for free responses. It made sense why Nick had to seek our input, given that all responses had to be submitted to Mr. Thompson. We were given a week to think about it, and a meeting was scheduled to compile our ideas. My plan is to let guests enjoy both the old and modern America. Nick began the presentations. Guests would watch a master confectioner at a nearby traditional sweet shop make sweets in front of them. The welcome drink would be premium tea in a bottle. Nick's plan was certainly attractive. After his presentation, Nick called on us to present in the order we were seated. Just as I stood up for my turn. All right, everyone's presentations are done. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me. There's someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. He was likely talking about me. I joined the company as a part-timer and was made a full-time employee when I turned 20. That was 20 years ago, so Nick and Mike probably had no chance to know until recently. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. After that, Nick kept creating opportunities to solicit everyone's opinions, purposefully excluding me from speaking. The meeting unexpectedly heated up and went past the scheduled end time. A few people asked to leave, and the discussion continued with the remaining few. Still here? Normally, you'd leave in that situation. Though I had no attachment to the job initially, hearing kind words from customers made me want to make them happier. For someone like me, with nowhere to go, the inn was my home and customer service was my life. I felt pathetic about my current self. I'm leaving. I left the conference room and started shutting down my computer. I noticed an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking no one would listen to what I had to say anyway, I quietly went home. The next day, while preparing the DM as instructed, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. In his haste to stand up, he hit his knee on the desk. He stared at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick! What's wrong? Mike, thinking he should be the first to rush over, approached Nick while still wearing his coat. He peered at the screen with Nick. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Who is responsible for this company? Nick, more irritated than ever, asked, and Mike answered without checking. Probably Sam. Sam wasn't there because he was attending a morning training session for new hires. Nick gave up on getting angry and returned his gaze to the screen. They were looking at an email that arrived right after the end of the working day yesterday. Apparently, no one, including me, had checked it before leaving. The email was from a large company that used us for their annual employee trips. The president and executives of that company also frequently used our services personally. President of the company, Mr. Mason himself had declared that neither he nor his company would ever use our services again. Well, some companies cancel their employee trips or stop using our services due to financial struggles. Let's just move on. Mike kept wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Knowing why Mike was so agitated, I quietly watched their interaction. Do you know how much revenue we get from that company? We can find other guests to fill the rooms, but we'll lose the banquet costs, gift shop revenue, rental car fees, and more. Moreover, the gifts were supposed to be prepared by the traditional confectionery shop involved in Nick's proposed plan. If it's known that we incurred such a huge loss at this critical time, Nick's position in the company would be jeopardized. Nick took a deep breath, seemingly trying to calm himself. All right, Mike. Go to New York right now and apologize to Mr. Mason. What? You're coming with me, right? I have urgent work to do. I trust you, which is why I'm entrusting this to you. Please. Mike, believing Nick's sincerity, agreed with a determined look on his face, saying, yes. That's Nick for you. Even if Mike went to apologize, Nick would shift all the blame onto him if the client didn't change their mind. Well, it was Mike's fault to begin with, so it served him right. About 3 hours later, Sam answered a call from somewhere and repeatedly apologized, saying, I'm very sorry. Everyone watched to see what was happening. After ending the call, he informed Nick with a weary tone. When Mike arrived at the client's company, he only made things worse, further infuriating Mr. Mason. He was demanding, get his boss here immediately. It was no wonder Sam was exhausted, dealing with such a call right after returning from training. What is that idiot doing? All right, Adam, you're coming with me. If sacrificing Mike didn't work, then I must be next. Normally, I'd want to refuse at all costs, but I saw an opportunity in this situation. If I can be of assistance, I'd be happy to join you. I obediently followed Nick, and we flew to New York. When we introduced ourselves at the reception, it became clear how serious the situation was, as the receptionist personally escorted us to the president's office. Angry voices leaked through the door, making both Nick and me uneasy. Excuse me. I'm Nick, the supervisor. I understand my subordinate has caused you trouble, and I deeply apologize. Nick, with his experience in the corporate world, knew enough to offer an apology before excuses. However, his customer service skills left much to be desired. I sighed as I saw Mike trembling like a small dog in the corner of the room. What kind of training are you giving your subordinates? Mr. Mason glared at Nick with a red face. The intensity of his gaze made even Nick take a step back. Regrettably, I joined this company only 2 years ago and was unaware of Mike's issues. I should have identified his shortcomings sooner. Indeed. I should have realized sooner. No sensible person would come to apologize and then give a lengthy presentation on the drawbacks of not using their in. Nick froze, his mouth slightly open. Suspecting the worst, I picked up the documents that had fallen to the floor. It seemed Mike hastily prepared these documents on the plane, listing the disadvantages. Disadvantage 1: if you change the venue for the company trip, employees might suspect it's for cost-cutting reasons, leading to a negative impression. Reading it aloud half-jokingly, Nick snatched the papers from my hand and checked the contents with a furious expression. Among the stack of documents was a receipt from a nearby convenience store's copy machine. I felt a pang of dread, hoping he hadn't shown the receipt as well. What do you think he said when I asked what kind of nerve he had to do this? I'm very sorry. Faced with the dire situation, Nick must have thought there was nothing left to do but apologize. In a voice smaller than I'd ever heard from him, he uttered words of apology. He said, I'm a Harvard graduate. I don't believe I said anything wrong. Mike, what have you done? Forgetting his plan to pin the blame on Mike, Nick yelled loudly, even in front of Mr. Mason. I didn't do anything wrong. You're still saying that? Look at him. Mike pointed at me with a shaking hand. I was assigned to headquarters in my 20s and now I'm a section chief. This guy only made it to headquarters at 42. Everything I've done proves I was right. So why are we losing the contract? Having said his piece, Mike collapsed to the floor. Of course. You were sent there because you had nowhere else to go. Mike never expected to hear such words from someone he looked down upon. He lunged at me, and Nick hurriedly stepped in to stop him. Mr. Thompson told me Mike is a quick thinker, and to take good care of him. There's no way he was pushed aside. Don't make things worse here. He didn't say quick thinker, he said only quick-witted, didn't he? I don't remember that part. I recalled the many troubles Mike caused when he was a newbie. When Mike was on the front line, his pride was so high that he never apologized to customers. Customer service, especially in our job, doesn't work alone. It brings both good and bad situations. If the front staff or housekeepers made mistakes, or the cleaning company didn't properly clean a room, one had to apologize to the customers regardless of personal fault. Mike, in such situations, would never apologize, insisting he wasn't at fault. This often angered customers, and as the front desk leader, I frequently had to apologize on his behalf. He caused complaints and disrupted operations, which is why he was quickly moved to headquarters. In departments where he didn't interact directly with customers, his quick thinking was beneficial and things went well. But it seemed his flaws were starting to show. Corporate reservations are supposed to be entered into the system by the sales representative. But a quick check yesterday revealed that more than 10 items were missing from the client's reservation. The handover document clearly stated what needed to be prepared. Why didn't you enter it into the system? Why do we have to give them special treatment? Filling rooms near the banquet hall, setting up all the food in advance. Specifying the brand of wine, they're too demanding. No wonder he always angered customers, I thought, feeling a headache coming on. Grouping them in rooms near the banquet hall is for our benefit too. It makes it easier for the staff to set up beds and serve breakfast since everyone's schedule is synchronized. As for the other requests, Mr. Mason suggested them to lighten our load. I didn't know that. Nick finally seemed to realize that Mike was the one who had angered the client. What did you say to them? I just told them we wouldn't give them special treatment anymore. We shouldn't waste effort on things that don't bring in money. I was utterly exasperated at his lack of understanding of customer service. Of course, we shouldn't comply with unreasonable demands. But carrying over successful practices from past stays makes customers feel remembered and enhances their experience. Good memories encourage repeat visits. That's part of our job. I looked down at Mike, who was sitting on the floor. In our job, nothing is a waste. Mr. Thompson likely moved you to the sales department, hoping you'd finally understand this. How do you think he feels now that you've failed to meet his expectations? Mike, tears in his eyes, fled the president's office. I was amazed he still hadn't apologized. You have it tough, Adam. It's okay, we're all employees of the same company. I deeply apologize for this disrespectful incident. Especially after all the care you've shown us. If it weren't for you, Adam, I really would have stopped staying here. When I heard you were moving to the sales department, I was willing to reconsider if you handled it. Seeing us talk so amicably, Nick's face contorted. Do you two know each other? Adam's service is excellent. I always requested him specifically. Normally, we don't accept specific staff requests, but we made an exception for Mr. Mason, adjusting my shifts accordingly. He had personally stayed at our hotel just before my transfer, and during casual conversation, I mentioned, I'm moving to the sales department soon. If I hadn't told him then, things could have been much worse. Please continue to take care of us. I look forward to it. On the return flight, Nick awkwardly offered me a can of beer. It's still working hours. Of course, I had no intention of forgiving him for a single beer. Nick might try to pin everything on Mike and avoid any consequences. While pondering this, a startling fact came to light. Nick, the tea bottles for the plan have arrived. I handed Nick a bottle labeled with our inn's name. They look good. What are you talking about? These are plastic bottles. I had assumed we would use the trendy, high-end bottling tea. But what arrived were ordinary plastic bottles of tea with customized labels. The only unique aspect was the label, which had the inn's name, making it look customized. Upon further investigation, I discovered that a substantial amount of money was set to be paid to the tea company. It was priced like bottling tea. Does this plastic bottle really cost $100 each? The tea inside is specially blended for us. The extra cost is for that. Wouldn't it be better to use another tea company? Or is there a specific reason we must use this one? As Nick continued to make excuses, I showed him a printed email. I informed the tea company's president, Mr. Mitchell, that we discovered irregular payments and he confessed. He said you two were high school classmates and planned to split the extra money. That idiot. Why did he confess? That's not important. You should worry about yourself, this could turn into a police matter. Opening the bottle cap, I suggested. How about calming down with this tea? It supposedly has a relaxing effect. Nick drank the tea frantically. In the following days, decisions were made about their fates. Mike was reassigned to the General Affairs Department, with no chance of transfer or promotion, as per Mr. Thompson's orders. As for Nick, since the payment to the tea company hadn't yet been made, he narrowly avoided legal trouble. Instead, he was encouraged to leave the company, and to avoid further complications, Nick submitted his resignation. Rumor has it that connections between HR departments have made it difficult for him to find new employment. Even though it was good to have those two gone, something unexpected happened in the sales department. Everyone became motivated and united in refining the 50th anniversary plan. In the end, my plan was adopted. We collaborated with the Tourist Information Center to provide personalized guides. The plan, tailored to the number of guests, was truly special for the 50th anniversary. Hey, is Adam's family coming to stay? I immediately booked that special plan for my family. Sam noticed it on the reservation list and quickly picked up on it. Yes, I'm inviting my father. That's great. I might invite my parents too. I lacked the courage to face my father just as Adam. But here, with the confidence Mr. Mason praised, I felt ready. The 50th anniversary plan was a perfect opportunity to reconnect with my father. I hoped to bring back the days when we could laugh together as we once did.